Hello students, welcome to this live wherein we today are here to talk about the PTE exam and specifically about speaking module. So there we go. Right, so today we are here to talk about specifically read aloud. That is one of the question types that we encounter in the speaking module of PTE. As we all know, the speaking and writing modules of PTE are clubbed together, wherein you have 8 parts, and one of those parts or question types you can say is read aloud. So let's get into the intricacies of what is there, what does it take to master this read aloud question type. Let's today get into the details. Let's talk about the super method that can be incorporated, that you can utilize to score more in your read aloud question type of PTE speaking. All right, first of all, let us try to know about the basics of this question type. Okay, this question type contributes to your reading score also in addition to the speaking score. Now, this is very interesting. It is a very interesting component if we talk about PTE. It is one of the edge that this exam has over the other exam types such as IELTS or TOEFL or OET. Why this? What makes PTE more appealing is that it believes in partial credits. Okay, it believes in giving scores or giving more marks to the other modules also apart from the module which you are sitting to attempt. For instance, if I talk about the read aloud question type of my speaking module, the question type is from the module of speaking, right? But you are also being scored for the reading module. Now, why so? इसका आंसर हमें तब बेटर मिल पाएगा जब हम ये देखेंगे कि इस क्वेश्चन टाइप में होता क्या है. So I will explain each and every aspect of this question type in this live of today. So how well you score depends upon how natural and comfortable you come across in your spoken response. Spoken response क्या होता है कि हम किस तरीके से रीड अलाउड डेफिनेटली हमें इसके नाम से ही पता चल रहा है कि हमें बोलकर कोई चीज देखकर उसको बाद में बोलकर पढ़ना है. सो दिस इज व्हाट दिस क्वेश्चन टाइप इज अबाउट. ऑलराइट, एंड योर स्पोकन रिस्पॉन्स मीन्स कि आप उसको किस तरीके से रिस्पॉन्ड कर रहे हो, बिकॉज आपको कोई भी ऑडियो फेड नहीं हो रही. यू आर नॉट बीइंग फेड विद एनी ऑडियो. You're just being presented with the text which is there on the screen, and how you speak that text out is your talent, is your actual understanding of the language. How comfortable you are with the language. Are you aware of what all it takes for you to speak like a native speaker? So this is what this question type is all about. If you're able to read the sentence properly without mistake and your response demonstrates fluency, correct pronunciation, appropriate emphasis, and flow of speech, you will get a high score for sure. So did you see that एक ही sentence में I have mentioned very heavy words which basically down the line of this presentation you will be getting to know that ये इस question type के basic parameters हैं. Fluency हो गया, pronunciation हो गया, emphasis हो गया, emphasis means stress, flow of speech हो गया. You will definitely be able to have a higher score if you take care of all these parameters really well. Let's move on to the next slide. Now, in the basics, first of all, you must also be aware of this thing कि इस question type में आपको कितने questions आएंगे, उस question की detailings क्या हैं जो आपके पास screen में. What happens in this question type is that in front of your screen you will be getting a text, all right, and that text can be up to 60 words. ओके, एंड द स्किल्स असेस जैसे कि मैंने आपको पहले भी बताया था इसमें, it no doubt that the module that you're sitting for is speaking, but you're also given marks for your reading module. Because why? Because you are basically seeing a statement, seeing some words, some sentences, some phrases, some clauses right in front of your screen and reading them out after analyzing that text. So this question type is subject to integrated marking. Integrated marking means what? कि आपको एक से ज्यादा मॉड्यूल में उसके स्कोर्स दिए जा रहे हैं. So this is the question which also involves integrated marking, but no negative marking is there. Okay, if you're going somewhere wrong with your fluency, pronunciation or content, as I mentioned that ये इसके parameters हैं, तो आपको ऐसा नहीं है कि अगर आप falter करते हो कहीं तो आपकी मार्किंग जो है वो नेगेटिव हो जाएगी, ऐसा नहीं है. Time to prepare for this answer, for the question, for this question type is 30 to 40 seconds. In these 30 to 40 seconds, you can read that sentence. And the time to answer is also 30 to 40 seconds, wherein you will be recording your response. So, about the basics of this question type, let me brief out very quickly. Number of question types are 6 to 7. Prompt length is up to 60 words. That means 60 words तक आ सकते हैं, उससे ज़्यादा नहीं आएंगे. 60 words के कम भी आ सकते हैं. Reading और speaking दोनों में आपको इसमें scores मिलते हैं. This is the reason that it is being called, it is being under the category of integrated marking question type. No negative marking is there. Time to answer and prepare both are 30 to 40 seconds. So there we go towards another slide. Now, how to answer this question? Very important. This question type डेफिनेटली बाकी क्वेश्चन टाइप्स की तरह इसमें भी कुछ स्ट्रैटेजीज, कुछ टिप्स, कुछ ट्रिक्स, कुछ टेक्निक्स इन्वॉल्व होंगी जिनको हमें ध्यान रखकर अपना क्वेश्चन अटेम्प्ट करना है. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, इन ऑर्डर टू अंडरस्टैंड कि उस क्वेश्चन टाइप को आंसर कैसे करें, हमें उस क्वेश्चन टाइप का ऑब्जेक्टिव पता होना चाहिए. ऑब्जेक्टिव मीन्स मकसद, एम. Now, what are we going to do? For this item type, you need to read a written text aloud. As I told you, screen है, screen पर एक written text लिख कर आया है, and after a certain amount of time, that is 30 to 40 seconds, you will have to read that text aloud. You have to speak that those very words, those very clauses, phrases, and sentences. You have to speak those out. The recording status box displays a countdown until the microphone opens. Now, as I told you, the 30 to 40 seconds of preparatory time has been given to you. So definitely उन 30 to 40 seconds का record भी रखा जाएगा. So उस record को रखने के लिए there is a countdown. You have 30 to 40 seconds to read the text and prepare, and you will hear a short tone. After the tone, start speaking immediately. Do not start speaking before the microphone opens. Okay, it is a big no, don't do that. Because अगर microphone open होने से पहले ही आप बोल रहे हैं, your response will not be recorded. एक तो रिकॉर्ड नहीं होगा, दूसरा कि जब आपकी रिकॉर्डिंग स्टार्ट होगी वो मिडिल से आपका सेंटेंस जो है स्टार्ट हो जाएगा, समवेयर फ्रॉम द मिडिल, एंड दैट वुड बेसिकली मीन दैट आपका सेंटेंस में एरर आ गया है. सो आपका कंटेंट जो है दैट विल बी फ्लॉड इफ यू डोंट टेक केयर ऑफ दिस स्मॉल लिटिल थिंग. Okay, so because your voice will not be recorded, so you do not please take care of the microphone or the recording box. Just be very cautious about what is being there displayed on the screen. अगर वो playing है, recording है, or whatever is mentioned there, just keep track of the content that is being displayed on the screen. That will be evident enough. आपको उसको देख के पता लग जाएगा कि मेरा अभी प्ले, उनकी तरफ से वो कुछ प्ले हो रहा है या फिर मेरा रिकॉर्डिंग बॉक्स, मेरा जो रिस्पॉन्स है वो रिकॉर्ड होने के लिए recorder open हो चुका है. You will be easily able to figure that out. So just be cautious. All right. Remember, you should speak clearly. There is no need to rush. Okay. Sometimes what happens is, in order to be in line with the content that is on the screen, till students just rush out. They try to rush through the words, and in this rush, आप अपने जो pronunciation है उसमें falter कर सकते हैं. ओके, मे बी आप कुछ ऐसे वर्ड्स हैं जिनको क्लैरिटी से बोला जाना चाहिए था पर आपने उनको नहीं बोला है, एंड दिस इज द रीजन यू लूज आउट मार्क्स हियर. सो जस्ट मेंटेन अ रेगुलर पेस, डू नॉट बी टू स्लो, नीड बी टू फास्ट. So you just don't need to rush through the words. Finish speaking before the progress bar reaches the end. The word recording changes to completed. Now just as a few seconds ago मैंने आपको ये चीज़ समझाई कि just be cautious, स्क्रीन पर क्या आ रहा है, रिकॉर्डिंग अगर आ रहा है that means आपका रिस्पॉन्स रिकॉर्ड हो रहा है. If it says completed, that means your audio is not being recorded now. All right, so your answer is done with. You have to move to the next question of the same question type. So be very focused that what is written on screen. You are only able to record your response once. Yes, you cannot go back in your entire PTE exam. So just be aware of what you are recording and when you are recording. If you remain silent for longer than 3 seconds, the recording will stop automatically. So yes, a pause of more than 3 seconds is not at all acceptable. All right. Now, how this question is scored? In the first slide, explained it out to you that this question type also has certain parameters जिसको हमने ध्यान में रखना है. Parameters क्या होते हैं? Parameters are basically कि कौन सी ऐसी चीजें हैं जिनके बेस पे आपका वो क्वेश्चन टाइप असेस हो रहा है. ऑलराइट, कौन सी ऐसी चीजें हैं जिसके बेस पे आपको मार्क्स दिए जाने हैं. So if we talk about these are content, pronunciation and oral fluency. अब content, it's very simple. आपके सामने ये question type is not that rocket science, okay? This question type is very simple to solve. इसमें content में just do not add your own words, do not skip the words, do not replace the words. That means ऐसा नहीं है. अगर supposedly अगर मैं screen की बात ही कर लूँ, तो अगर मैं यहाँ से starting से पढ़ना start किया है मैंने, how this question scored. What mistake did I do? I did not mention is. Okay, so I just skipped the word. How this questions is scored? I again made a mistake. What mistake I made this time? I said questions. That means I added s to this already pre-existing word question. So we do not add anything. Let it be alphabets, let it be words. Okay, we are in no position to make any additions to the text that has been already given the question. Do not replace words. If I say how the question is scored, no, this is also unacceptable. If they are, it here it is written this, you have to say this. You cannot say how the question is scored. So simple as that. Don't add, don't skip, and do not replace words if you want full marks for your content. Moving on to the next parameter, which is very crucial. Content here is simple and read aloud, but catering to the other two parameters that were pronunciation and oral fluency. This is a bit dicey, but here I will make everything easy for you. Pronunciation, इसमें आपने चार चीजों का ध्यान रखना है. First is consonants, second is consonant cluster. See, I made a mistake here. I said consonant cluster. So I will probably be losing marks for my content if it was a read aloud question type here. Okay, getting back to my stuff, consonant clusters, vowels, word stress. Now, for many of you, these words might be sounding alienated to you. Consonants और vowels आपने फिर भी सुन रखे होंगे, but consonant clusters, word stress, what are these? Let me disclose it out to you that what these four magical content slices will make difference to the way you are going to be getting scores in your read aloud question type. So first of all, let us see what are consonants. Consonants क्या होते हैं? Everybody knows vowels जो होते हैं, that is A, E, I, O, U. From the, very beginning, since primary school of ours, we are being informed, well aware of this thing that, okay, vowels are A, E, I, O, U. और जो बाकी के alphabets बचते हैं, वो जाते हैं consonants में. So there are 5 vowels and there are 21 consonants. Vowels are A, E, I, O, U and consonants are B, C, D, F, G and so on. Now, basically consonants क्या होते हैं? Consonants are like B, K, D, F, G, H, J, K, L, M, N, P, K, R, S, T, V, again W, V, X, just leave that, Y, Y, Z, Z. Okay, so ये जो sounds हैं, I am referring to these sounds. I will be in the entire presentation of mine here referring to sounds. Why? Because sounds are a major part of your speech and speech is what is required in this question type. Okay, so we have to be very specific about कि कौन से alphabet से किस तरह की sound आ रही है. सो कॉन्सोनेंट्स आर क्लियर. मैंने एक एक कॉन्सोनेंट आपको उसकी आवाज बोलकर दिखाई दैट हाउ आइडियली इट शुड बी प्रोनाउंस्ड. नाउ लेट्स टॉक अबाउट कॉन्सोनेंट क्लस्टर्स. क्लस्टर्स क्या होते हैं? बेसिकली क्लस्टर मींस ग्रुप. ओके, सो कॉन्सोनेंट की जब क्लस्टर्स बनने लगते हैं दैट दोज क्लस्टर्स कैन बी इन अ ग्रुप ऑफ in a group where two members are there, in a group when three members are there. Members basically referring to the consonants. Okay, so इस इन क्लस्टर्स में दो कॉन्सोनेंट्स भी यूज हो सकते हैं और तीन कॉन्सोनेंट्स भी यूज हो सकते हैं. वी हैव टू टेक केयर ऑफ द वे दीज क्लस्टर्स आर प्रोनाउंस्ड. ओके, जैसे कि अगर ये ब और ल, बी और एल, अगर ये अलग अलग पड़े होते तो दे वुड हैव बीन सिंपल कॉन्सोनेंट्स जिनकी आवाज आनी थी ब और ल. ओके, यू सी कि ब के बाद एक पॉज था एंड ल के बाद एक पॉज था. बट अगर ये क्लस्टर्स में पड़े हैं तो क्या होगा? इट्स ब्ल. इट्स ब्ल. इट्स नॉट बल. इट्स ब्ल. सो डिड यू सी द डिफरेंस? This difference is going to be proving drastically, you will be having a drastically improvised performance of yours if you take care of this small thing. It is not blur, it is blah. All right, then bruh, bruh, no, bruh, cl, cr, dr, fl, fr, pr, pl, sk, sm, sp, st, tr, tw. And then coming on to the three member clusters, it's shra, sfr. Now ph becomes fur. It sounds more like a simple f, but it is a three consonant cluster word. It is sfr. Cat, a, cat. Pen, n, pin, e, on, o. Bus, a. Long vowels are a, e, I, o, u. So there is no, जैसे हम हिंदी में बोलते हैं मात्रा. So that matra is not being utilized in long vowels. That is where the short vowels are taking their call. If we talk about combined vowels are where, excuse me, I'm really sorry for my sore throat today. So combined vowels may we talk about two or more vowels. Okay, for example, if I say pay, pay, okay, it's not pay. No doubt in Hindi accent it is pronounced as pay, but ऐसा नहीं है. To be a native speaker, you have to pronounce it like a, pay. So a and e are being also pronounced. So this is the reason that combined vowels are being utilized in this word pay. Then there is a word boy, boy, boy. He was a smart boy. So boy, it's O E, boy, O E, O E. So this is the reason that here combined vowels are used. Vowels are used. Now if I say why, not why. It's why. Why did you do that? So why, like in pen, N, it is that sound is also coming. A, why? Here, here, E and both are being used, so this make it a combined vowel sound. Beer, okay. So these are the words where combined vowels are used. So in this slide, let me sum it up for you. Pronunciation comprises of four elements: consonants, consonant clusters, vowels, and word stress. Now, first three we discussed. Consonants क्या होते हैं? जो I, E, O, U को छोड़ के बाकी alphabets है. These are coming under the category of consonants. Consonant clusters क्या होते हैं? जब एक से ज्यादा consonant, let it be two, let it be three, जब वो इकट्ठे यूज्ड होते हैं और एक पर्टिकुलर साउंड क्रिएट होती है उनको क्लब करने की वजह से, दोज आर नोन एज कॉन्सोनेंट क्लस्टर्स, ब्ल, ब्र, क्ल, स्प, स्प्र, स्ट. So these are consonant clusters. Vowels, how many types of vowels are there? Short vowels, long vowels and combined vowels. Short vowels जिसमें मात्रा की आवाज आती है, a, cat, e, in, o, on, bus, a. Long vowels a, e, I, o, u. Combined जहां पर जब आवाज जो है दो वावल्स की आ रही हो, pay, boy, why, here, ear, beer, ear. So this is the sum of this slide, which consists of pronunciation. Let's move on to the next one. Now, before discussing, do you remember I talked about four parameters here which are coming under the category of pronunciation? The last one was word stress. Before coming on to the word stress, let me make you well aware, acquainted, well versed with this thing that in the world there are two types of different languages. First is stress-based language and the other one is syllable-based language. Okay. How does a stress-based language sound like? It sounds more like a heartbeat monitor machine. वेन यू, जब आप हॉस्पिटल में जाते हो इन आईसीयू, गॉड फॉरबिड कि आपको ना जाना पड़े, लेट इट बी, इवन इफ इन द मूवीज यू सीन दैट जो हार्ट बीट मॉनिटर मशीन है दैट साउंड्स लाइक ट ट ट ट ट ट ट ट ट ट ट ट ट, and nobody wants it to be because that means the person is no more. Okay, apart from me being sarcastic. Now, here we are going to talk about that stress-based language resembles the heartbeat monitor machine, where एक ही तरह की साउंड नहीं आ रही है. जो साउंड है वो किस तरह से आ रही है? अप है, लो है, अगेन अप है, कुछ टाइम के लिए लो है, कुछ सेकंड, लेट्स से 4 सेकंड्स के लिए हाई है, देन अगेन 2 के लिए लो है, और उसके बाद 8 के लिए हाई है, 3 के लिए लो है. सो देयर आर सर्टेन हाईज एंड लोज इन द फ्रीक्वेंसी ऑफ द साउंड दैट इज बीइंग रिकॉर्डेड. This is a stress based language. That means किसी syllable पर, किसी word पर आप stress देते हो, किसी कम ज्यादा देते हो, किसी पर कम देते हो. आपकी tone में, एक frequency में change बहुत ही evident रहता है. जैसे कि हम अपनी नॉर्मल हिंदी में भी यूज करते हैं. डिड यू सी मैंने कैसे बोला? जैसे कि हम अपनी नॉर्मल हिंदी में भी यूज करते हैं. अब जैसे कि अलग टोन आई, नॉर्मल की अलग टोन आई, नॉर्मल को मैंने थोड़ा ज्यादा स्ट्रेस लिया. सो दिस इज अ स्ट्रेस बेस्ड लैंग्वेज. नाउ बट देयर आर अगेन इन द वर्ल्ड अनदर टाइप ऑफ लैंग्वेजेस व्हिच कम इन द कैटेगरी ऑफ सिलेबल बेस्ड लैंग्वेज. सिलेबल बेस्ड लैंग्वेज में क्या होता है? इट इज मोर लाइक अ मशीन. डिड यू सी? एक ही पेस से वर्ड्स बोले जा रहे हैं. दिस these kind of languages come under syllable based language. इसमें कोई वेरिएशन नहीं है, फ्रीक्वेंसी की ऑल्टरेशन नहीं है, हाइज नहीं है, लोज नहीं है, एक ही तरह एज इफ कोई रोबोट इज यू नो saying things out. So this is the difference between stress based and syllable based language. Stress based language कौन कौन सी हैं specifically on top of it, as we are for this sitting for this exam? So definitely English is a stress based language, there's no doubt in this. Thai, German, Russian, Danish, Swedish, Norwegian, Dutch, European, Portuguese, Persian, all these languages are stress based languages. And what are the syllable based languages? French, Italian, Spanish, Icelandic, Cantonese, Mandarin, Turkish, Korean, South Asian, Dravidian. These are all syllable-based languages. So, a very clear picture if we draw a difference between the two. Stress-based language में highs और lows voice में होते हैं. Syllable-based language में एक ही तरह की आवाज आती है from beginning till the end and it sounds more like a robot. Now let's come on to the word stress. Word stress में जब कोई वर्ड हमारे पास आ रहा है, अब उसमें कौन सा सिलेबल का पार्ट हमें स्ट्रेस कराना है, कौन सा स्ट्रेस नहीं कराना, या कौन सा स्ट्रेस ज्यादा कराना है, कौन सा कम कराना है, दैट इज व्हाट कम्स इनटू एक्शन. दैट इज व्हाट वी हैव टू स्टडी अबाउट. फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ आई टॉक अबाउट अ वर्ड वार्निश, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल डिड यू नोटिस आई सेड वार्निश? आर इज साइलेंट. वार्निश. Okay, now I said varnish. Va was यू नो एक तो इस पर स्ट्रेस ज्यादा ले किया मैंने, थोड़ा सा ये निश से ज्यादा लंबा चला, वानिश, वानिश, वानिश. If I didn't say it like vanish, I didn't say it like vanish. No, I didn't lay stress on niche. I laid stress on va. So the stress of uh, this my speech was laid more upon va. All right. So this syllable I used more. I was more va was more important to me as compared to niche. So it is vanish, vanish, protective, protective. Do you see how I stress this tech? Protective. So I would just like you to, as I have put a comma, put commas on the words, now try to lay some more stress in those words and less stress on the other parts of the word. Try speaking it out by yourself. I will be giving you a minute. Okay, there. So did you try this? Okay, the first two were done by me. It was varnish and it was protective. Now let's talk about the other ones. It was provide, provide, provide. It was not provide. I did not say provide. I said provide, provide. Similarly, influences, influences. I did not say influences or influences. It's not that. It was influences. Composition, composition. So did you see how I laid stress on this word S-I-Z? It was composition. So more stress is there on Z. It is not composition. I did not say it out like that. Neither was it like this. Composition, composition, composition. No, it was composition, composition. So Z, SI is the syllable. It is the part of the word. It is that it is though that cluster that I laid more stress on in comparison to the other parts of the word like compo or shun. Thickness, thickness, thick. I laid a little bit more emphasis on thick as compared to on ness. Thickness. It was not thickness. It was not thickness. It was thickness. Similarly, penetration, 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 penetration. It is not penetration. Neither was it penetration. No, it is penetration, penetration. All right. So just try to pronounce these words by yourself also. For example, let me just brief it out for you. It's varnish, it's protective, it's provide, influences, composition, thickness, penetration, penetration. All right, now so we are done with our pronunciation part. Moving on to the third parameter, that is oral fluency. In oral fluency, there are four things again, like in pronunciation, there were consonant, consonant clusters, vowels, and word stress. Now, if I talk in terms of oral fluency, there are again four components, but now the components are sentence stress, connected speech, pausing, and rhythm. Now, let's get into the details of each one of these. All right, so sentence stress, what does that mean? We just came across word stress and now let's talk about sentence stress. I have mentioned a single sentence here, but every sentence will be different from the other three. Just have a close look at it and just see the words which I have underlined. I will be shifting the stress of my speech towards those words rather than the other words in the sentence. जैसे कि जिस वर्ड को मैंने अंडरलाइन किया हुआ है उस पर मैं स्ट्रेस ज्यादा ले करूंगी एज कम्पेयर टू जो बाकी के वर्ड्स हैं. फर्स्ट सेंटेंस से स्टडी करते हैं. वानिश, वानिश वाज इट. अब वानिश बोलेंगे कि वानिश, एज फ्रॉम द प्रीवियस स्लाइड इट वाज क्लियर, इट इज वानिश, इट इज vanish. So just try to say that out, say the sentence out by yourself. I will be giving you 30 seconds to just go through that. Let's see if you were able to shift the focus of your sentence to the word that I just underlined and laying some more emphasis on that word itself. The first sentence says that varnish does just more than provide a protective sheen to a violin. So did you see that I just lay stress on varnish? Varnish does just more than provide a protective sheen to a violin. So बाकी वर्ड्स पर मेरा स्ट्रेस वैसे ही था, बट वार्निश पर ज्यादा था. Now again, varnish does just more than provide a protective sheen to a violin. Provide पर मेरा stress ज़्यादा था. Varnish does just more than provide a protective sheen to a violin. Did you see that this protective sheen was laid more stress on as compared to the other words in the sentence? Now let's talk about the last fourth one. Varnish does just more than provide a protective sheen to a violin. Did you see? Varnish, provide, protective sheen, violin. This is how and where you need to see that where you are giving more stress, more weightage. Stress basically means emphasis. Okay, so and if you're emphasizing a certain word, that definitely means that the meaning of that word becomes more relevant, more useful, more it become it it comes on it keeps coming on the top of the priority list. The more stress you lay on those on the word, and the way you lay the stress, the time duration for which on to which you hold on to that word makes a drastic difference. So here we see the importance of emphasizing particular words in a sentence while reading it out loud, emphasizing the words which put more sense in a sentence and hold more importance. So we definitely, students, have to learn, we have to read for meaning. When we are reading, we need to see what nouns, what adjectives, what verbs can I lay more stress on, which are possibly seeming to be important for me, important for the text. Okay, so if I generally see the sentence, no, varnish just as I see words like varnish, provide, protective sheen, and violin very important to me. So if I pronounce it on my way, if it is left out to me to pronounce it, I would rather say varnish does just more than provide a protective sheen to a violin. So did you see that just that does just more than was not that much. I did not lay that much emphasis on these four words. I did not lay emphasis on I just rushed through it. And then to and were also somewhere crushed by me in between sheen and violin. Sheen to a violin, sheen to a violin. So tour is just tour. It's just tour. I try to contract it, I try to compress it. Why? Because I think that these words are not as important as protective sheen and violin are looking out to me. This is all about sentence stress. That means in a sentence you need to see where to stress, where to lay stress on, and from where to remove the stress. Basically, emphasizing the meaning or importance of that word. Let's move on to the connected speech. What connected speech in influency, oral fluency means? It means that the speech basically जो आपको text मिला है screen पे, ultimately it is going to be becoming the speech for your recorded response, all right? And now you have to also bring connectivity in that. Now what connectivity means here? Connectivity basically means कि previous slide में I told you कि I just tried to crush the word to a I just rushed through it. So this is what actually means connecting the speech. That means the words which I find, which I think are not as relevant or are as holding as importance as the other important adjectives, verbs, or let's say words or phrases. I just try to shrink and rush through them. So I try to club those words, okay? And when I club those words, this leads to my connected speech. Let's see what it is written here on the slide. This is a phenomena that happens when we are naturally speaking or reading something, and that is that we do not speak like robots. Now, in order to when you have a connected speech pattern, you will surely not sound like a robot. Why? Because you are stressing certain words, you're removing the stress from certain words, and you are shrinking and clubbing certain words. So why would you sound like a robot? There's no chance at all. When we speak, we do not put spaces between each word. Yes, now speech is connected. That means हर word के बाद, हर alphabet के बाद हम space नहीं दे सकते. This is the reason we have consonant clusters. It is blur. It is not burler. It is blur. It is brr. It is not burr. Okay. So this is the reason that connected speeches, there are some words connect together into little chunks of language. Little chunks of language. Basically, what I just illustrated out to you, that shrinking or clubbing of the words. So let's just take a look at this. I have a small little text for you. The very first line we have been doing since the I think inception of the presentation itself. But now let me have a detailed look into the complete statement, into complete statements that are going into this context. And if we talk about this, let's just have a look that how we are connecting the speech basically. Varnish does more than just provide a protective sheen to a violin. Now, did you see? Mind you, it is not a spelling error here. It is not that I have typed it incorrectly. I have deliberately clubbed these words. So varnish is one word. Does more. Does more. It is not varnish does more than just provide a no. Varnish does more than just provider. Provider. So it is not provide a, it is provider. Protective sheen to a. It is not to a, no space between. It is to a violin. It influences the vibrations, not the vibrations. Did you see there was no gap or space between the and vibrations? The vibrations and impulses, no, and impulses. That the wood, that the wood, that the wood, no, that the wood absorbs, and therefore now if you see, if you hear to what I exactly pronounced it as, I even omitted a and d in and therefore. I did not say and therefore, I said and therefore. So it was just n that remained here. And therefore the quality of sound the instrument produces, the quality of sound, the quality of sound, no, the quality of sound the instrument produces. Now instrument produces, there was a space in between, but there was no space between the instrument. The properties, space was there, of the varnish, of the varnish, of the varnish. Okay, it is not of the varnish, it is of the varnish. Its chemical composition. Now, its chemical composition. I did not say it out as its chemical composition. No, that would mean rushing through the words, and we do not want our important words to be missed out or rushed through. That is not to be done. So, its chemical composition, thickness and penetration. Now there's no connection over here. Did you see that? Why? Because these words are very important. And these words, I want these words to be very specific, very peculiar, clear, and these words should sound out loud and clear and bold because these are important. Now, into the is does not hold as much importance as thickness and penetration. So that is why I clubbed both. It is not into the, it is into the into the wood are all. It's not are all, it is are all. Now important and factors are, good words which I think that are more important. Important factors, I did not club them, I did not connect them, I did not shrink them. So I would just give you a minute. Try to read this whole good about 1 2 3 4 5 of the 5 lines, and try to say them out loud just the way I told you, just the way these words are clubbed. Okay, so just a minute for you to practice. All right, so I hope you had a good time and everything went just as I illustrated out to you. Let me just sum it up for you. Varnish does more than just provide a protective sheen to a violin. It influences the vibrations and impulses that the wood absorbs, and therefore the quality of sound the instrument produces, the properties of the varnish, its chemical composition, thickness and penetration into the wood are all important factors. Into the wood are all no no are all important factors. So this is how you will be connecting your speech as per the relevance, as per the importance of the words that are being given to you. Let's move on. Now, when we talk about fluency, there is another thing known as pausing, which is also very important. Why pausing is important? Because you must know that what are the right places where you need to give your pauses. It cannot be anywhere and everywhere and at any time. So let's get into this thing, that where and when the pauses seem relevant and fair enough, and you don't sound as if you're a noob. So let's see how can we figure out that things are on the good end. Pauses are important. Yes. You shouldn't be abruptly ending a sentence, nor you should read everything. Now, this is where, you know, the importance of pausing lies. In a single breath, it's the perfect balance that will make you find your way to higher scores. Now, pauses are important. Abruptly ending a sentence, for example, the sentence, at the end of every sentence, there is a full stop. Now, how efficiently use your tone when you have a full stop, when you have a semicolon, when you have a comma. This is all about pausing and being having a perfect blend of it. So a balance is definitely required. Fluency is important, but it does not mean that you speak without pausing anywhere. Okay, fluency does not mean that you need to be focused on the speed itself only. No, you need to be aware where to rush and where to pause. Rushing definitely is not, a wise decision to be made when it comes in terms of, when I talk in terms of PTE, but definitely fluency does play a part. So you don't have to sound too slow that, it seems like you are F putting ample amount of effort in your speech. So that is also not required. So if you do not pause anywhere in your PT spoken responses, it just shows that you do not understand the relative importance of different words and phrases in a sentence. Because pause हम कब लेते हैं? Now I said pause हम कब लेते हैं? हम कब लेते हैं? Okay, हैं पर I paused a bit more. So we know कि एक closure जहाँ है, वहां पर pause ज्यादा है. या फिर हम जहां पर स्ट्रेस ले कर रहे हैं जिस वर्ड पे, वहां पर पॉज ज्यादा है. दैट मीन्स वी नो कि हमारा बिगिनिंग क्या है, हमारी इंपॉर्टेंस क्या है, हमारा एंड क्या है. दैट मीन्स इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ डिफरेंट वर्ड्स एंड फ्रेजेस ये कन्वे करता है कि हम कहाँ, कैसे और कब पॉज ले रहे हैं. All right. In our normal conversation, we pause to show how the sentence parts are connected, which parts are important, and to help the listener understand the sentence better. ये pauses किस लिए हैं? So that जो understanding है वो better हो सके. This is exactly what we should aim to do in our spoken responses of PTE as well. Okay, so pausing and fluency go hand in hand. The stresses, the fluent, how fluent you are, how, when, and where you're utilizing your pauses, everything has to be in symphony, in synchronization. Now, commas and full stops. Yes, as I told you already, that commas means shorter pause in comparison to a full stop, which demands a longer pause. Why? Full stop means total end, finish, stop, over. So definitely उस पर हमें जो pause लेना होगा वो ज़्यादा लेना होगा. Comma पर जो हम pause लेंगे वो थोड़ा कम लेंगे. So commas and full stops are clear indicators that you need to pause in a sentence. A comma for a very short pause and a full stop for a slightly longer pause. In the time you have before the microphone opens, quickly glance at the sentence and make a note of the commas and full stops in it. Now, as I told you that read aloud mein you will be given how much amount of time? Yes, 30 to 40 seconds. Okay, you're given in that. So in 30 to 40 seconds में आप क्या करेंगे? आप directly you will be looking out for all the commas and the full stops. Okay, so that you have a brief idea that कहाँ पर आपने longer pause लेना है, कहाँ पर आपने shorter pause लेना है, कहाँ कौन सा word ऐसा है जो आपको important लग रहा है, आप उस पर stress ज़्यादा देंगे. So all this preparation needs to be done in those 30 to 40 seconds itself. Conjunctions. Yes, conjunctions are very important. Why conjunctions are important? Because conjunctions are basically joining words. They are doing what they are joining words, phrases, or sentences. Right? So definitely this means that one part of a sentence is over and the other one is beginning. So there also a halt has to be taken. So just like the commas and full stops, conjunctions are other clear signs of where you need to pause. If you come across and or but, you know you have to pause there. These words connect the sentences, and pausing at these words helps the listener understand the connection better. So basically what is happening is, जितना आप बढ़िया तरीके से pausing को use करते हैं, commas, full stop, conjunctions, stresses, word sentence, word stress, sentence stress, connected speech, etc., 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 उतना ही you sound better. And the more you sound better, the more you are able to convey the information to the other person. All right. But luckily, here in PT, you do not have any other person over here. You have a computer, okay? A pretty dumb machine that you need to answer to. But this machine is not as dumb as I just mentioned it out to be, because it utilizes an algorithm. PTE definitely has an algorithm which needs to be very well taken care of. You cannot ignore this. Now, let's move on to another slide. Logical breaks in the sentence. Logical breaks are very important. That means you must know where to put the break. It cannot be again and again. I'm stressing on this thing that anything, anywhere will just not work in PTE. Logical breaks have to be there. Logical breaks means which sound sensible. You might also come across very long sentences in read aloud which do not have sufficient commas, full stops or conjunctions. ऐसे बहुत सारे sentences होंगे जिसमें comma, full stop या conjunctions नहीं दी हुई. If you do, then you should just aim to pause at logical breaks. Basically, commas और full stops और conjunctions क्या होती हैं? These are hints to you कि यहाँ पर आप रुकें, यहाँ पर आप कम रुकें, यहाँ पर ज़्यादा रुकें, यहाँ पर इसको stress ले करें and all that stuff. But अगर वो नहीं है, that means you have to use your cognitive skills, your basic understanding of the language and of the text as well. So there is where the logical breaks come into play. So when a part of the sentence ends and other parts begin, okay, depending upon how fast you usually speak, you can keep a rough guideline in your mind. This I also mentioned earlier with example that there have to be highs and lows and ups and downs in the frequency of the sounds of the speech that you are emitting, because you do not at any cost have to sound like a robot. All right. So and definitely that this let's say the kind of pattern that you are choosing, you're pausing or you are stressing the every seventh word or third, or this doesn't has to be specific or set, because then again you would have a definite pattern, and definite pattern would make you sound like a robot, like a PC, like a machine, like a computer program. You don't want to be like that, okay? Because you're being judged at your fluency and your pronunciation. So these parameters have to be taken care of at any cost. So you can randomly pause at 6, then 8, and then 10 and 7 words. Do not, for sure, do not follow a pattern at all, okay? So the last parameter of fluency is rhythm. Yes, rhythm is very important. What is rhythm? Rhythm जैसे कि हम normal day language में सुनते हैं. Rhythm is like music, symphony. Okay, so rhythm comes under the category of intonation. Intonation, what is intonation? The highs and lows and the variation of the frequency of the sounds that you use in your speech, जिसकी मैं starting से बात कर रही हूँ. So what is rhythm? It is the variation of the pitch of the voice when you speak. We use intonation in our daily life also. Now, अगर आप notice करें, when I said अगर आप notice करें, so इसमें अगर पे stress था, आप पे थोड़ा सा कम stress था अगर से. Notice करें कि मेरी जो volume थी, जो tone थी, जो वो अलग थी as compared to अगर और notice करें. So intonations, the raising and lowering of your voices whenever your sense deems is necessary. वो क्या कह रहे हैं? सेंस, दैट मीन्स ऐसा कुछ हमने लर्न नहीं किया होता बोलने वक्त ना, जब हम हिंदी या पंजाबी में कन्वर्स करते हैं कि हम इस वर्ड को ज्यादा, अब मैंने इस पे ज्यादा स्ट्रेस दे दिया, तो हमने ऐसा, मैंने कुछ प्री प्लान नहीं किया हुआ था कि मैं इस वर्ड पर ज्यादा स्ट्रेस दूंगी या दूसरे पे नहीं दूंगी, बट लॉजिकली, आउट ऑफ लॉजिक, आउट ऑफ द कंफर्ट विच आई फाइंड इन दिस लैंग्वेज ऑफ माइन, बिकॉज इट इज माई मदर टंग, तो वो ऑटोमेटिकली एक ऑरा क्रिएट हो जाता है जिसमें आई नो कि मैंने इस वर्ड पे स्ट्रेस ले करना है, इस पर नहीं करना है, बट इट इज नेवर प्री प्लान, इट इज नेवर प्री रिहर्स्ड और लर्नड। ओके, सो सिमिलरली इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज में भी ऐसे ही है, द नेटिव स्पीकर्स जो होते हैं, दे डू नॉट, यू नो, देयर इज नॉट अ फिक्स्ड पैटर्न। अगर ऐसा होता तो इट वुड हैव बीन वेरी इजी टू साउंड लाइक अ नेटिव लाइफ, बिकॉज देन यू वुड हैव अ बुक टू रीड, यू वुड मेमोराइज स्टफ एंड यू वुड हैव बीन गुड टू गो, बट ऐसा नहीं है। उनको खुद को नहीं पता होता कि उन्होंने कौन से वर्ड्स पर स्ट्रेस ले करना है और किसको स्ट्रेस, कौन किस पर अप जाना है, किस पर लो जाना है। सो इट डिपेंड्स ऑल ऑन बेसिक सेंस। Intonations are often referred to as punctuations of speaking, just like full stops are important to reading and writing. The tone is important to speak. Yes, tone is important. Should I give you an example of this? For example, if I say, if I take the word क्यों in Hindi, okay? अगर किसी ने बहुत गलत कर दिया, आई वुड हैव सेड क्यों। अगर मुझे पता ही नहीं है कि क्या हुआ, इफ आई एम आस्किंग इट आउट ऑफ अ क्वेश्चन, तो आई वुड से क्यों। तो डिड यू सी द डिफरेंस? क्यों भगवान, क्यों तुमने मेरे साथ ही ऐसा किया? सो क्यों हियर वेंट अ लिटिल फार, ओके, इट इट हैड मोर म्यूजिकल टोन टू इट, एंड व्हेन आई वाज एक्चुअली सीकिंग अ आंसर टू अ क्वेश्चन, जब मैं एक आंसर को ध्यान में रखते हुए, क्वेश्चन को ध्यान में रखते हुए पूछ रही थी, तो इट वाज वेरी शॉर्ट एंड सिंपल, आई सेड क्यों, तुम कल स्कूल क्यों नहीं आए, क्यों। सो दिस इज वेयर इंटोनेशन टेक्स पार्ट, okay. So irony is that everyday thing becomes difficult during a test meeting. Now this is an everyday thing, as I just illustrated it out to you. जैसे हम अपनी मदर टंग में कंफर्टेबल हैं और हमारा जो वर्ड की टोन है, वॉल्यूम है, स्पीड है, फ्रीक्वेंसी है, स्ट्रेस है, वो नॉर्मली ऑटोमेटिकली डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द बेसिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग चेंज होते रहते हैं। इसी तरह से इंग्लिश में भी सेम प्रोसेस है। नाउ बट आईएल्स, पीटीई या किसी भी टेस्ट में जब हम बैठते हैं, तो हम एक एग्जाम प्रेशर के अंडर आ जाते हैं, और जब एग्जाम प्रेशर आ जाता है वी आर नर्वस। अगर हम ये नर्वसनेस निकाल दें, डेफिनेटली वी वुड डू अ लॉट बेटर, बिकॉज देन वी वुड टेक दिस लैंग्वेज एज अ नॉर्मल कॉन्वर्सेशनल मीडियम। समथिंग इज बीइंग आस्क्ड, हम क्यों हिंदी या पंजाबी में इतना कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी फील नहीं करते हैं? डू यू थिंक कि आज की डेट में भी, अब भी इस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम में आपको हिंदी या पंजाबी, वट एवर लैंग्वेज है कंफर्टेबल है ना, आपको सारे के सारे ग्रामेटिकल रूल्स आते हैं? नो, ऐसा नहीं है, बट स्टिल यू कंफर्टेबल विद द लैंग्वेज, यू नॉट नर्वस, यू कॉन्फिडेंट, बिकॉज इट हैज, आप इतना यूज कर लिया आपने इस लैंग्वेज को कि आप कंफर्ट लेवल, योर कंफर्ट लेवल लाइज देयर। सो व्हाट आई वांट इज कि इंग्लिश इज सिमिलर। सो आप इसको एक कंफर्ट लेवल बनाकर चलेंगे, तो आप डेफिनेटली दिस लैंग्वेज विल बिकम योर ओन। सो योर इंटोनेशन शुड बी प्रॉपर फॉर दिस, एंड इन ऑर्डर टू साउंड लाइक अ नेटिव लाइक स्पीकर, the English language has some original rhythm which makes it very beautiful to hear. If you closely notice that the way I am speaking out, you know, ये text चाहे मेरे सामने है, I am doing some more additions or my additions also. This text is, you know, I am also reciting this text out to you. But if you see, this is in a conversational tone. This is not like as if I am reading some news channel. If it would happen that way, तो ये किस कैसे लगना था आपको सुनने में? The English language has some original rhythm which makes it very beautiful to hear. बट आपको स्टार्टिंग से, इट हैज बिन अ लॉन्ग टाइम, जब से ये प्रेजेंटेशन, जब से लाइव चल रहा है, डिड यू फाइंड मी speaking like a robot or a news channel over here? So this is what you just, you know, because I'm connected with you, I'm connected with my audience, okay. There is no nervousness from my end. All I want is to make you well aware and to get help you get more bands. So I literally, from the inside of my heart, I want that I should be able to convey everything out to you what is required in order to score good marks in this PTE read aloud question type. So my motive is something else. That is why I am not under pressure or nervousness. So this is the reason I am sounding very natural. A very natural pace is there. Maybe not. Maybe I'm not using a native like accent, but still that machine like thing is not there. So this is what is required from your end also. This is where intonation or the rhythm takes, you know, into play, comes into action. All right. So basic concepts, which will be helping you out in your entire PTE, your anywhere in your life, anywhere where you're sitting under some exam, and you're there to be analyzed, to be scrutinized by the examiner or by a machine or by a computerized set software program list of you have to understand the basics. You have to understand the concept that is being injected into that scenario, that forms the ground, that forms the basis of that very situation. So if you study and work in an environment which uses English language, you will find this question type simple enough. नाउ डिड यू सी जो चीज मैं स्टार्टिंग से बोल रही हूँ कि environment, ease, comfort level, you make the language your own as if it is your mother tongue. So this question type or any question type in PTE is simple enough. So most of us have to read reports, give presentations, read passages from the text at work or study. This question type is just like that. So आप इसको usual की तरह समझें. आप ये मत समझें कि मुझे कुछ बहुत ही एक्स्ट्रा ऑर्डिनरीली दे दिया गया है जो मुझे रीड करना है, कहीं मैं इसमें गलती ना कर दूं. जब आपके माइंड में ये आना स्टार्ट हो जाएगा वहां गलतियां ज्यादा होनी स्टार्ट हो जाएंगी. सो टेक इट इजी. Okay, it is just what is happening all around you daily, nothing out of the box. Okay, however, if you're not in a habit of reading out English text, अब अगर इंग्लिश से आपका राब्ता ही कुछ नहीं है, you're not well versed, you're not acquainted, you do not have an environment of this language, अगर आपका बिल्कुल इंग्लिश से लेना देना नहीं है, तो डेफिनेटली, और स्पेसिफिकली जब उस इंग्लिश से जहां पर आपको अपना मतलब, आपको अपना मीनिंग, अपने थॉट्स, अपने आइडियाज दूसरे पर्सन को कन्वे करने हैं, डेफिनेटली ये क्वेश्चन टाइप आपके लिए थोड़ा सा टफ हो जाएगा. सो इसका the key to this lock here is practice more. Be in an environment of English. If we know that we have to plan, we're going to be sitting for a test where your English proficiency is going to be tested. Definitely आप उसके लिए prepare भी करोगे. So उस preparation के दौरान आप English environment में रह सकते हो. So this environment, this practice will ease things out for you. So please know that reading a text is very different from reading it aloud. When you read it aloud, you focus your focus is completely on how you make others understand the text and get its meaning across. If you can do this well, you can score high. So as I told you that the basic motive is conveying the meaning, conveying your thoughts. But definitely in this PT question type, your thoughts are not involved. A set of words, phrases, clause, or particular sentences are there on the screen, and you just have to read those out loud. So you just have to make sure that you do not panic in this situation. Just easily be able to convey the meaning across, and that's it. Your scores depend first of all on how will you read all the words in the text. Okay, the first part that we discussed, the first parameter that we discussed for this question type was content. Now if you read all the words well in your text, you are good to go. You will be scoring high. Reading the content accurately is very important. Yes, do not miss, do not skip, do not add, do not replace. These things we studied at the beginning of our presentation, our live also. So rest score depends upon your oral fluency, pronunciation. Try to sound as natural, as fluent as you can. Now, did you see natural? In natural, do we rush? हमें नेचुरल में कभी ऐसा बोलते नहीं है ना जैसे हमने कोई ट्रेन पकड़नी हो. So this is exactly what the basic concept of PTE read aloud is, that please sound natural. Do not rush through the words. Fluency doesn't mean great speed, doesn't mean that you have you have to rush through the words. The question type also contributes to your reading score. So after all, you can only record correctly if you have read the text and understood it well. Yes. आपको ये क्वेश्चन रीडिंग के मॉड्यूल में स्कोर्स क्यों दे रहा है? बिकॉज अगर आपने स्क्रीन पर जो इन्फॉर्मेशन आई, अगर आपको समझ ही नहीं आई होती, अगर आपको वो वर्ड्स बिल्कुल आपके लिए एलियन होते, अगर आपने बिल्कुल भी उस टेक्स्ट को अंडरस्टैंड ना किया होता, तो आप उस टेक्स्ट को बोल भी नहीं पाते, अपार्ट फ्रॉम द टू और सिंपल वर्ड्स जो सेंटेंस में होते। तो आपने उसको रीड किया है, एनालाइज किया है, उसके हिसाब से आपने अपने स्ट्रेसेस शिफ्ट किए हैं, अपनी इंटोनेशन को यूज किया है, अपनी पेस को मेंटेन किया है, पॉजिंग की है। सो दिस इज रीजन दे आर गिविंग यू मार्क्स फॉर द रीडिंग मॉड्यूल ऑल्सो. Method is very easy and simple to follow. You have 30 to 40 seconds to prepare, and this in this preparation of yours आप देख लो कि कौन से words आपको difficult लगते हैं बोलने के लिए. Pronounce those words pre-hand. Okay, so see where all the commas and the full stops are, and you will be easily able to figure out how you have to basically in those 30 to 40 seconds create a blueprint of how you're going to be saying those things out. So 30-40 seconds में चुप रहने की जरूरत नहीं है. Don't just keep staring at the screen for 30 to 40 seconds. आप उस टाइम भी अपना उसको वर्ड्स को सेंटेंसेस को लाउड बोल के प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हो. देयर इज नो इश्यू इन दैट. ओके, आपकी रिकॉर्डिंग तभी स्टार्ट होगी जब आपको स्क्रीन पर रिकॉर्डिंग लिख कर आ रहा है, और जब व्हेन इट टर्न्स और शिफ्ट्स टू कंप्लीटेड, दैट मींस आपका ऑडियो जो है, आपका रिस्पॉन्स रिकॉर्ड हो चुका है, टाइम निकल चुका है, एंड नाउ योर ऑडियो इज कंप्लीट. डोंट कीप स्पीकिंग उस टाइम के बाद तक भी. So make an effort not to sound monotonous. Yes, you don't have to sound robotic at all. Monotonous sound नहीं होना है. Don't sound as if you are some news reader or a certain program is made to speak the sentence out as if Siri is speaking. Don't do that. You have to be very, very cautious about your tone, about appropriateness, about balance, about what words you're going to be laying stress on, about variations. So all these things go hand in hand, and how to use these things, I have covered all those topics in detail with you. So not all the words in a text are equally important. ये with example मैंने आपको बिल्कुल clear किया है. Some words carry more weightage because they influence the overall meaning of the text, and these words should be spoken. तो basically emphasis या stress हम क्यों देते थे? For the meaning. So जिस पर हमने stress ज़्यादा दिया है definitely means कर वो word हमारे लिए sentence में बाकी word से ज़्यादा important है. If there are any words that seem new to you or seem long or complicated, try speaking them before the microphone opens up. So this is where the preparation, pre-hand preparation comes into part. अगर आपको word बिल्कुल ही लग रहा है कि मैं ये बोल ही नहीं सकती या बोल ही नहीं सकता, तो out of a pro tip, a pro advice that I would like to suggest here is, but don't directly go for this. Try the first set of strategies that I have told out to you. अगर last में कुछ भी नहीं बचता है, so just ignore that word. उससे क्या होता है, आपकी फ्लुएंसी मेंटेन रहती है, आपकी प्रोनाउंसिएशन ठीक रहती है. एटलीस्ट कोई ऐसा वर्ड नहीं है जो आपने मिस प्रोनाउंस किया है, आप बीच में कहीं पे स्टटर नहीं हुए, रुके नहीं है, सो आपकी फ्लुएंसी भी मेंटेन रहेगी. बट ट्राई स्पीकिंग दोज वर्ड आउट व्हेन यू हैव प्रिपरेटरी टाइम. आप उस वर्ड को ब्रेक करके भी बोल सकते हो. बहुत सारे ऐसे वर्ड्स हैं जो सिंपली ब्रेकेज से ही हमें बोलने आ जाते हैं. ओके, you can use 30 to 40 seconds to figure out everything, prepare yourself, and then when the microphone opens up, you have to start speaking, and do not pause for more than 3 seconds, because then again you your microphone will think that the software will think that you do not want to reply or respond any further. It will close the microphone and your recording will be shut and on completed mode. So take care of this thing. Pausing at commas, full stops, conjunctions, and as if, but, etc. are very important, because these are the logical breaks. These are basically the indicators, the signs that are there in order to let you know that, okay, pause here slightly, pause here a little bit more. Emphasizing the right words so that you do not sound unnatural is very important. But then again, you should not have a specific or a set pattern for this. You can keep changing the frequency. Let's say about 3 to 4 words if are passed by, then you want to stop a little bit. It's okay. 2 words have gone by, you think the third word is important, you want to lay more emphasis on that, it's okay, you can do that. Your tone should be varied, in a very appropriate, proper manner. Usually, when you begin your sentence, you raise your tone, and when you're coming towards the end, because end represents closure, so this is the reason that वहां पर हम अपनी tone lower कर देते हैं. So, the raising and the lowering should be very apt. Should be apt. Okay. So you should also. I am saying that robotic नहीं होना है, and it should also not look like as if you're singing. So take care of these. You have to be somewhere in the median towards it. Okay. Break through the difficult words. Yes. Don't hesitate and stop to think about difficult words. Just keep speaking, rush through them, replace them with a simpler, similar word. Hesitation is there. So just try to omit that word. Okay. Don't forcefully try to make you stammer through that word so that your fluency or pronunciation is not hampered. You can definitely say the data in larger chunks. Chunks means you pick up words in a set of 3 or 4, then you place those words back on the platter, and then you again pick 4 or 5 words, then place them back. So picking the words up, placing them back, moving to the next. This is all about how to pick the information in larger chunks. That means जैसे कि अगर मैंने ये sentence पढ़ना हो, first sentence someone वाला, someone who is good in a particular language usually can read and speak. So did you see? I picked someone who is good in a particular language, वो मैंने एक पेज में बोला. Then I said usually can read and speak a bigger part of the sentence in that language. So a bigger part of the sentence तक मैंने एक cluster लिया, उसके बाद मेरा pause आया, then मैंने ये pick किया in that language. So this is how you can break your text into larger chunks of information and speak about it. So you have to practice. PTE or any other exam, any other question type is all about practice, students. If you do not practice enough, then you won't be able to make it. But if your practice is good and you follow all the tips and tricks and strategies that I dispensed out to you in the live session of today's of ours, you will definitely be able to get a full score for your PTE read aloud question type. You have to be confident and speak loudly. Yes, do not murmur, okay? If you are in a habit naturally of speaking, if your voice tone is already lower, so you have to practice being clear, being loud enough so that your response is recorded well. Okay? So thank you, students, so much for being with me throughout this presentation, throughout this live, staying patient and moving along with me step by step in order to achieve a good band score. I hope you guys enjoyed the session of today and wish you luck for your